Few knew the walls of Gene Kelly's Hollywood mansion held secrets as breathtaking as his dance moves. Beyond the dazzling tap routines and timeless musicals, the legendary performer built a home filled with love, laughter, and even a stable of beloved horses. It was here that Kelly balanced stardom with the quiet rhythms of family life. Now we step inside the iconic estate to uncover the stories behind his private world and the bittersweet moments leading to his final curtain. Before we begin, answer my question. Do you know, besides talent, what makes Gene Kelly famous? That is his private life. Kelly's first marriage took place in 1941, when he wed the young and talented actress Betsy Blair, who was just 17 at the time. Their meeting the previous year had a touch of serendipity. In 1940, at an audition for a nightclub revue, Kelly hired Blair to perform as a dancer. The two quickly developed a connection, both personally and professionally, as they navigated the early stages of Hollywood's demanding entertainment industry. Their union produced one child, Carrie Kelly, born in 1942, and for over a decade, the couple managed to balance their careers with family life. However, despite their early compatibility and shared love for performance, the pressures of Hollywood and evolving personal aspirations led to the dissolution of their marriage, culminating in a divorce in April 1957 after 16 years together. Following a brief period of personal reflection, Kelly found love again in 1960 with Gene Coyne, a talented choreographer who had previously worked closely with him as his assistant. Coyne brought her own Hollywood pedigree to the relationship, having been married to famed director Stanley Donen between 1948 and 1951, a marriage that ended in divorce. Kelly and Coyne's relationship blossomed from a shared passion for dance and creative collaboration, and together they built a family that included two children, Timothy Kelly, born in 1962, and Bridget Kelly, born in 1964. Their marriage reflected not just a romantic partnership, but also a professional synergy, with Coyne often contributing her choreographic expertise to Kelly's projects. Unfortunately, this marriage was tragically cut short when Gene Coyne passed away in 1973, leaving Kelly widowed after 13 years of marriage. Coyne's death marked a profound personal loss for Kelly, who had endured both the joys and sorrows of marriage life. Decades later, in a surprising turn, Kelly entered into his third marriage in 1990 with Patricia Ward, who was 30 years old at the time, while Kelly himself was 77. This significant age difference did not hinder the bond between them, which lasted until Kelly's death in 1996. Patricia Ward's presence in his later years offered companionship, stability, and affection, marking a quiet but meaningful chapter in Kelly's personal life. Following his passing, Ward chose not to remarry, a testament to the enduring connection she had shared with Kelly in the twilight of his life. Throughout these three marriages, Kelly's personal relationships were interwoven with the trajectory of his career and the evolution of Hollywood itself. Each marriage reflected different stages of his life: youthful romance and professional beginnings with Blair, creative partnership and family building with Coyne, and companionship and enduring love in his later years with Ward. While his public persona as a charismatic, energetic performer remains iconic, these marriages reveal a more intimate side of Kelly, a man who sought love, connection, and family across the changing landscapes of his life. The later years of Gene Kelly's life were marked by a gradual but unmistakable decline in health, a stark contrast to the vitality and athleticism that had defined his legendary career. Throughout the 1980s, Kelly, once celebrated for his boundless energy and unparalleled physical agility on screen, began experiencing the cumulative effects of age and the demands of a lifetime in show business. By the late 1980s, observers and friends noticed that his physical resilience was waning. The vibrant dancer, whose leaps and spins had once thrilled audiences worldwide, was increasingly limited by the natural progression of time, alongside underlying health issues that were never fully publicized, but nonetheless impacted his mobility and overall well-being. Kelly's health challenges became dramatically more serious in the 1990s. In July 1994, he suffered a severe stroke, a medical crisis that forced him to be hospitalized at the prestigious Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. He remained in the hospital for 7 weeks, during which time his condition required intensive medical attention and rehabilitation. And this period was difficult not only physically, but emotionally. The stroke significantly limited his ability to speak and move, striking at the very skills that had defined his public life. Friends and family recalled the frustration and vulnerability Kelly experienced as he confronted the stark reality of his diminished independence, a profound shift for a man who had spent decades mastering precise physical control and dynamic expression. Despite this first stroke, there was hope that Kelly might regain some measure of recovery. However, in early 1995, tragedy struck again. He suffered a second, more debilitating stroke that left him severely disabled. This second event compounded the challenges he was already facing and effectively ended his capacity for independent movement or meaningful physical activity. The strokes robbed him of the freedom and vitality that had been his signature, and while his mind remained sharp, his body could no longer reflect the brilliance for which he had been so famous. Family members and close friends devoted themselves to his care during this period, ensuring he was surrounded by love and support even as his condition deteriorated. Throughout these final years, Kelly's spirit remained reflective and dignified. Colleagues, admirers, and those who had known him personally observed that while his body was failing, his wit, charm, and insight into dance and cinema endured. He remained a figure of inspiration to many, a living testament to the artistry and physical mastery that had made him a global icon. Even in the face of severe disability, Kelly's presence and personality continued to leave an imprint on those around him, illustrating the resilience of a creative spirit that could not be entirely diminished by illness. Gene Kelly passed away on February 2, 1996, leaving behind a profound legacy in the worlds of dance, film, and popular culture. His death marked the close of an era. The man who had once electrified movie screens with his energetic performances and innovative choreography was gone, but the memory of his artistry and the joy he brought to audiences persisted. Tributes poured in from around the world, reflecting the widespread admiration for his contributions to entertainment and the indelible mark he left on Hollywood and the performing arts. Now, let's talk about Gene Kelly's remarkable estate. Among the many residences he owned over his lifetime, perhaps none was as emblematic of his personal style, charm, and private life as his longtime Beverly Hills home at 725 North Rodeo Drive, affectionately known as the Farmhouse. Unlike the lavish, ostentatious estates often associated with Hollywood royalty, Kelly's farmhouse was deliberately understated, a reflection of the man himself, energetic, creative, and grounded despite his extraordinary fame. This unpretentious white house became the cornerstone of his domestic life and a sanctuary where he could balance the demands of a glittering career with the rhythms of family and friends. Kelly and his first wife, Betsy Blair, made the farmhouse their permanent residence shortly after World War II, establishing it as a home that would witness decades of personal milestones, professional reflection, and social gatherings. For Kelly, the house was not merely a dwelling, but a workspace, a rehearsal area, and a gathering place for some of Hollywood's brightest talent. Mid-century magazines often featured the property in home tours, emphasizing its spacious living areas, clean lines, and lack of pretension, a stark contrast to the ornate estates that dotted Beverly Hills. Inside, the rooms were airy and functional, with an uncarpeted area that Kelly famously used to think with his feet, pacing and improvising dance steps, translating the energy of his imagination directly into motion. The backyard of the farmhouse became legendary for the spirited gatherings Kelly hosted for fellow MGM friends, musicians, and collaborators. These were not merely casual get-togethers. They were energetic, often rambunctious events where friends engaged in volleyball, touch football, and Kelly's own invention of competitive charades known simply as the game. Such activities reflected Kelly's playful nature, his love of physicality, and his desire to create a sense of camaraderie among peers in the entertainment industry. The farmhouse backyard, in this way, became an extension of Kelly's creativity, a place where movement, laughter, and performance intertwined seamlessly. Despite the house's central role in Kelly's personal and professional life, it was not immune to misfortune. In December 1983, the family suffered a devastating Christmas tree fire that caused extensive damage to the interior of the home and destroyed irreplaceable papers, memorabilia, and personal artifacts, including an honorary Oscar. The fire was a tragic blow, erasing decades of tangible memories and achievements, yet it did not dislodge Kelly from his beloved neighborhood. True to his resilient spirit, he continued to live in Beverly Hills, maintaining the farmhouse as a hub of daily life, creativity, and connection to the community he had known for decades. Through its long tenure as Kelly's residence, the farmhouse remained more than just a house. It was a reflection of the man who inhabited it. It embodied his philosophy of life, a blend of practicality, creativity, and a commitment to personal joy over showy display. Friends and family often remarked that the warmth of the home lay not in its furnishings, but in the energy, laughter, and movement that Kelly brought to every corner, from the expansive living spaces to the backyard, where he fostered unforgettable moments of play and camaraderie. Nexie, nestled in one of Beverly Hills' quiet, tree-lined neighborhoods, 506 North Alta Drive emerges as a residence long associated with the Hollywood Golden Age, particularly the storied lives of Gene Kelly and Betsy Blair. Unlike some of the more famously chronicled celebrity homes in Los Angeles, the Alta Drive property does not appear in lavish magazine spreads or full-length biographical accounts. Instead, its presence in public memory and historical records is largely preserved through photo archives, real estate listings, and stock imagery, which together paint a picture of a residence that quietly witnessed the private domestic life of one of cinema's most enduring couples. Contemporary documentation suggests that 506 North Alta Drive was a notable domestic anchor for Kelly and Blair, though not necessarily a showpiece designed for Hollywood publicity. Neighborhood records and local historical accounts repeatedly identify the house as a former Kelly/Blair residence, and stock photography agencies, specializing in cataloging both celebrity life and architectural features, provide visual evidence that links the couple to this particular address. Photographs captured during the couple's years at Alta Drive show a home in the style typical of mid-century Beverly Hills, elegant yet understated, with clean lines, manicured gardens, and a sense of privacy that would have appealed to performers seeking a retreat from the constant glare of Hollywood publicity. The house stands as a testament to a domestic life that was as private as it was connected to an era of cinematic glamour. In examining the property through modern real estate lenses, 506 North Alta Drive occupies a niche category. It is recognized not primarily for architectural innovation or historical landmark status, but for its association with celebrity ownership over several decades. Local property listings and neighborhood guides highlight the house within the broader context of Beverly Hills celebrity real estate, noting previous owners and their contributions to Hollywood history. This pattern of documentation reinforces the idea that while the home was not heavily profiled in national media, it has nonetheless maintained a continuous presence in the cultural memory of the area. Real estate write-ups frequently reference its mid-century design sensibilities and discreet elegance, echoing the understated lifestyle that Kelly and Blair themselves seem to favor. Public records, too, offer glimpses into the enduring link between the residence and its famous occupants. County property summaries, though minimal in narrative detail, confirm periods of ownership that coincide with the couple's marriage and early collaborative years. Unlike other properties made famous by celebrity-driven magazine features or sprawling photo essays, 506 North Alta Drive is traceable through verifiable public documentation, title records, tax filings, and occasional stock photos captured for real estate archives. These records collectively affirm the home as a genuine Kelly/Blair household, providing historical proof even in the absence of sensationalized coverage. The character of the Alta Drive residence aligns closely with what is known of Kelly and Blair's lifestyle. Gene Kelly, celebrated for his dynamic energy on screen, and Betsy Blair, renowned for her nuanced performances and intellectual sophistication, seem to have sought a domestic environment that allowed for both privacy and subtle elegance. Unlike the sprawling estates or Hollywood showpieces designed to impress, the house at 506 North Alta Drive offered a quiet refuge. Archival photos suggest an exterior of modest yet tasteful proportions, with a facade that blends seamlessly into the Beverly Hills streetscape. Interiors, as glimpsed in occasional stock images and agency photographs, emphasize functionality and comfort, indicative of a household designed for genuine living rather than public display. Before Gene Kelly became a household name synonymous with cinematic athleticism and the golden age of Hollywood musicals, his roots were firmly planted in the working-class neighborhoods of Pittsburgh. Among the most formative of these early environments was 7514 Kensington Street in the Point Breeze section of the city, a residence the Kelly family moved into in 1924. This modest home, unassuming by architectural standards but rich in familial and cultural significance, became the backdrop for Gene's formative years that would later inform his extraordinary stage presence, dance innovations, and enduring artistic ethos. Point Breeze in the 1920s was a typical Pittsburgh neighborhood, characterized by closely built houses, tree-lined streets, and a tightly knit community of working-class families. The Kelly family's home at 7514 Kensington Street reflected both the economic realities and the industrious spirit of the era, modest in size but brimming with life, energy, and creative potential. Local histories and Pittsburgh area reporting underscore how the neighborhood's rhythms and routines shaped Gene's adolescence. From impromptu street performances to makeshift dance routines in living rooms, Gene and his siblings explored movement and performance with a freedom afforded by their communal surroundings. The streets and homes of Point Breeze became informal rehearsal spaces, where the young Kelly honed his coordination, rhythm, and expressive abilities long before he would grace Broadway stages or Hollywood sound stages. The house itself, while unremarkable in terms of architectural grandeur, played a central role in fostering a family culture steeped in performance and artistic ambition. Reports suggest that the Kelly household was lively, with frequent gatherings, music, and improvisational performances that nurtured a sense of creativity and confidence in its occupants. Gene, already displaying the early signs of his remarkable agility and showmanship, would often stage routines with his brother and friends, experimenting with tap steps, acrobatic moves, and theatrical gestures. These early experiments, carried out in the confines of a working-class Pittsburgh home, were more than child's play. They were the first seedlings of the technical precision and kinetic energy that would later define his professional work. Beyond these impromptu performances, the Kelly family's commitment to dance extended into entrepreneurial and communal initiatives. In later years, the Kellys ran a family dance studio in Pittsburgh, a local institution that reinforced the city's role as a crucible for Gene's artistic development. The studio offered instruction in a variety of dance forms, and young Gene's early exposure to teaching, choreography, and public performance further cemented his understanding of rhythm, timing, and stagecraft. Pittsburgh newspapers and neighborhood histories frequently note the studio's importance in the local arts scene, highlighting how the Kelly family's dedication to dance both nurtured their own talents and contributed to the community's cultural life. For Gene, the combination of street-based experimentation, formalized instruction at the family studio, and exposure to local theatrical productions created a comprehensive early training ground that was as unconventional as it was influential. Gene's time at 7514 Kensington Street also coincided with the development of his athletic prowess. Local histories emphasize that the neighborhood's social environment, marked by physical play, informal sports, and daily activity, provided him with a foundation of strength, coordination, and agility. These qualities, integrated with his early performance experiments, would become a hallmark of his professional persona, a seamless blend of athletic virtuosity and artistic elegance. Observers and biographers alike have noted that the combination of neighborhood life, family support, and personal experimentation formed a crucible in which the young Gene's talents could be cultivated organically, setting the stage for the meteoric rise that would follow. What do you think about Gene Kelly? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.